CGC. Let's talk about this. By the way, these came in a collection. I don't get books graded. I've sent a few books out to auction. Sometimes you need to pay a bill. You send a big book out to auction. Auctions won't sell it unless it's graded. Then they graded it and it's come back to me because it didn't sell. And that would be what was, and may still be, I haven't been checking the population, was the only #3 Filipino Star Wars, the Alamar book edition. You've seen it on earlier videos, but this was the only #3 in the CGC population. I don't care. The only reason it's graded is because it went to auction. And it didn't sell, so it came back to me. I do buy my nephew's books when they're on eBay, super cheap, in 9/8 grades, because my nephew. I have plenty of regular copies, ungraded, but are signed. And then I bought a collection from somebody who'd somehow worked that whole whatnot winning books. Who's grading a 9/2 Walking Dead Deluxe number 49? Walking Dead Deluxe number 50. Reprints of the originals that are not 9/8s. Who paid $25 to have these graded? What did they get a deal? Is CGC giving super discounts to whatnot? I know there's a like you can get a certain amount and then there's a little bit of a discount, which I did print out their sheet, which they have a printable version of all their fees for all their different grading services. They're available to you on the internet, so I printed it out. Before I get ahead of myself, I'm a little worked up. I didn't do this video when the scandal first came out for CGC about the 350 air quotes unknown, decided an exact amount that were reholdered. We don't know how long this scam was going on before it got caught. I'm sure that they know the number of books that they reholdered. I'm sure they know how many they've done since they've opened their business, when they started providing that service. I don't know that number. But here's what I think about grading. And I apologize because I am very steamed up about this. I've talked about it a lot. But of course, I don't have a big reach on YouTube, so not everybody has heard me talk about it. So I'm going to talk about it again. I don't like grading books. Comics are an art form. They're not just a cover. The back of a comic book, if it's a wraparound cover, okay, then you have at least two. Most of the time, especially if it's a vintage book, it's just an advertisement on the back. So you're basically just grading a cover. They grade the inside of the book and put it there, but you no longer can see any of the art from the inside of the book. As far as anybody's concerned, a philosopher would say, once you encase that book, the interior of those pages are blank. There's nothing on them. Nobody's ever going to see them again, so it doesn't matter if they're blank or not. They can tell you that they're perfectly white. You'll never know because you can't see them. I have a problem with it. People who know me for a long time know that I've had a problem since the beginning. Some of it is right on the price sheet. Modern books up to $400 that have a $400 value are $25. From $401 to $1,000, it's $85. Now, this is not with, if you fast track it, you pay an extra $15. And then unlimited value is 4% of fair market value. Where are they getting the fair market value price? And do I pay less for, now that the market has gone down, do I pay less to grade my Fantastic Four #1 than I would have paid during the boom? Yes, of course you would. Who is setting this fair market value? And is the fair market value set from auctions, which we already know there's all kinds of stuff going on in the auctions from the video game scandal that happened last year. Outside of comics, these are people that are making money on the collecting of comics. They don't create comics, they don't invest in comics. All they do is seal comics away and give you a grade that they feel it deserves. Now, what's happened for millennia is condition prices are set between the buyer and the seller. When somebody comes into my shop and they pick a book off the wall and I tell them this is the price I want for it, they look it over, they can either say, great, or they can say, hey, I actually think this is probably a couple of grades lower than what you've priced it at. I think the fair market value is lower. And then we begin in negotiations. That's a collectible market. That's a fair market value price when the two people can negotiate the true fair market of what the actual value of that particular book is worth. They're providing also pressing services. So if you feel that the book could be a little bit better with a little bit of cleaning and a little bit of pressing, CGC is also offering that. So now the people who grade the books are offering a service that increases the grade of your book. I don't know how people don't see that there is a huge conflict of interest between CGC, the community, the auctions, the fair market value price. It's really put a grip on the comic book market. It has allowed a lot of people to make a lot of money in a very short period of time. People who are not interested in comics, they're interested in money. They've picked comics because maybe they used to read comics. Maybe they had a comic store nearby where they had access to a lot of comics at a cheap price. Because when selling a vast number of books, like I say, for me, $3 and $5 books are dollar books. That's what they sell at my shop. $10 and $15 books, $2 to $5. You know, nothing sells for what it sells for on eBay on a regular basis. Now, some people say, well, just put all your stuff up on eBay. Well, that's not what we're about. This is to make this business last a very long time, you have to make readers, not speculators. Speculators moving in and out of the market, as soon as the market starts to dip, they're out. They dump all their stuff and they move out. I've had multiple people come in with boxes of this garbage. Garbage. Grading a 9.2 on a modern book, $25 you paid for that? I can't get $20 for this, right? I could probably get $3 for that, not even. Maybe I'll get cover price, which is what, $3.99, $4, because it's a newer book. I might get cover price for it, somebody who wants to read it. But now I can't even read it. It's a 9.2 for a modern book. So collectible, it's not worth anything. But somebody paid $25 to have that graded. And if they got it if they paid the extra $15 to have it walked through, they paid $40 for a book that's probably not worth more than $4. So the artificial inflation of books because they're graded is a problem for the community, for comic book reading, for comic book collecting, for the health of the industry. These people who have come in for cash grabs into the comics sphere, we keep using the word community. You know, a lot of people in the beginning that were making money on buying books in comic shops and then turning them. And I had some friends who've been called it, like dirty flippers and stuff like that. I don't care if you make $1 million when you buy a book from me, if you go out and make a profit on it, I don't care. It's just not good for the business. It's not good for the community. It's not good for comics. When, especially modern books, the publishers get kind of a remorse that they're not making that secondary market money, right? They create a book, you know, a 1 in 50, a 1 in 100, a 1 in 1,000, whatever, and it sells for $500. Well, they sold it for $4.99. You got to buy 100 of them, so that's where the $500 price comes. Well, some people still get 50% off of their books. So let's say they paid $250 for it and they got $500 for it. But they see it as you're getting $500 for one book because you get to sell all the other books. And you can see from my other videos that those books don't get sold. No, nobody's buying those books. I buy those books for 25 cents a piece from other dealers and put them in my dollar bins. And they don't always sell in the dollar bins. So, and signatures. If you're at a convention and you want to have your book signed and graded, and you want to fast track it, you're going to pay $75 to have that modern book graded with a signature on it. And now the signature is sealed away, and everybody has to trust CGC that everything is on the up and up. Is it? I don't know. I mean, they're trying very hard now to get in front of this 350 book thing to try to maintain their trust, but I've never trusted them. When you're deciding the market value and you're taking 4% on a book, on a market value that you've decided on, and then so what's the market value of the grade you give it? Do you give it the grade and then charge the money, or do you charge the money on the, I know I sent a book to auction. It was the first appearance of Galactus. I thought it was a 5.5. They sent it to be graded. It came back a 7.5. I was thrilled. Now, here's when you're at the mercy of an auction house. So a 7.5 fair market value is what charged for the book. Well, the fair market value on that book is probably $1,800 to $2,000 is what it had been selling for regularly. Well, the auction house put it up against an 8.0 of the exact same book. So you had a 7.5 and 8. So both of our books underperformed because you split the buyers. Some people who were feeling that they would be okay with a 7.5 if they could get it at a very discounted price didn't bid on the 8.0. And there was people that didn't bid on the 7.5 because it wasn't an 8.0 and the 8.0 was right there. I don't know what CGC charged Hakes to grade the book. I know what Hakes charged me. I can't get into that exact number, but I believe they charged me at 4% of the $2,000, which is the fair market value. But it didn't sell for that. You getting me? Are you getting it now? They decide on what it's worth, whether it sells for that or not. So you're paying 4% on whatever they feel the book is worth. Maybe do some people make out that the book explodes a month later and the book goes way up and they paid 4% at a lower amount? Maybe. But for the most part, vintage doesn't move like that, except for that little short window of 2 years where CGC now has grown. Now they're going to have to pay for all these employees as this market has started to come down and people will stop grading books at the number of books they were grading before, where they hired all these new employees. Now, are they going to lay off these employees? Are they going to find other income to be able to pay these employees? Let's watch all of this go down too. And then also the facilities, they enlarged their facilities. And I had heard rumors that they were moving back to their old spot. Let's keep an eye on this, because when you start getting desperate for money in a corporation like this, things like this reholder situation happen. Now, they're trying to get in front of it, like I said, to keep their trust. But listen, when there's money to be made, fuckery is always about. Always. Somebody is always working the system, right? So if you want to buy a book and you want to buy a book that you want at the grade you want, don't trust these guys to tell you what grade this book is. You go to a local comic shop, handle the book before it's sealed. If you want to go seal it, it's up to you. But you should handle the raw book and know what you're buying before you just trust, you know, because later down the road, 20 years, maybe this is, you know, something gets found out and all of these become worthless. None of the grades are trusted. I wish I still had an example. I had sold a bunch to a guy because I just was tired. I had some that actually had some kind of oil or something on the inside. After they had sealed it, there was some kind of oil in it. Micro cracking all the time. You know, if you look around, well, these I slapped together, so I'm not even gonna look at these. But if you get all your graded books, get them out and start looking. There's micro cracks in a lot of these books. They do not hold up to dropping, by the way. And you can kind of hear them, you know. This one has the plastic on the inside is kind of chipped. I mean, I just hate them. I hate them. I think it's like the worst thing that happened to the industry. Now people say, well, what about sports cards? Well, sports cards have a front and a back. You can see both once it's been graded. They have more than one. I mean, I know comics have more than one grading company, but sports cards have a lot of grading companies now. And again, you have to pick the one you trust. Trust's a hard thing with a corporation, you know? If you don't get to meet with the people that are doing it and know what their expertise is, I think this is just a very bad place we've gone to with these books, and that now if it's not graded, the books are worthless, and if they are graded, they're getting 10x, and that's just insane. Don't grade your books. Sorry, CGC. Oh, by the way, we definitely were not sponsored by CGC for this video. Keep reading comics. You know what? And learn learn to enjoy the stories as they are, and pass the stories down to somebody else. Don't encase them in this crap. That's it. That's all I got.